But the only way you're going to be able to be immovably in the world, in other words, in the world without being moved by it, is when you can learn to be in the world not on its terms and not at its level, but from this still, essential essence of your being. Now, what I'm going to say now is taught in transcendental meditation. It is an image, and I'm using it because it is a good image and it is simple to understand. Every time you choose to move into that stillness and pay attention with full open consciousness, it is like engaging in a process of tie-dye, where each dip means a little bit more of the color of the dye remains in the fabric and it deepens it. Every time you do this, the experience sticks a little bit better, you might say. And remains with you as you engage in the world a little bit more. And so repetition is excellent. Repetition is needed. And slowly, you will never come out quite as far from that point. You will begin to come out less and less until being from your being is the only thing you ever engage in again. Meditation is a means of centering. But why become centered? Not so that you can function better in the world, but so that you can have a more enduring experience of being. To have a more enduring experience of being, period. You get centered so that you're in the place where when you're paying attention, there is something real and true available to you to be experienced, and so that you might avail yourself of the opportunity to explore it. That's why. That's the end of the answer.
My experience thus far has been, there are three parts to it. One is, it's like I am being in a still pool.
Being and what?
In a still pool of just being. Other times, more rare, but notable, are, it feels like I no longer am. Like I am totally dissolved, I'm not asleep. In other words, in this like good night sleep. But yet there's a time warp, so to speak, and I come out of it and I don't know where I've been. I haven't dreamed. It's like I had dissolved and then reformed when I came out of it, and time has passed. Sometimes 10 seconds, sometimes 2 hours. Then the other thing I notice is that as the muscular relaxation is taking place at the beginning, there is the life force feel of that has been stagnated or stopped begins to circulate, and as if great healing takes place, which brings up the question of you have said that there is only one prayer that is ever worthwhile praying. I may not quote this exactly, but it is, Lord, please heal me. And the question that comes up around that is if I said to you now, Lord, please heal me, is that directed in the right direction? And is it an appropriate request? How is that? So could you comment on all of that?
All I can say is pay attention to all of it. You will find that you can even pay attention when you seem to have dissolved. As far as the prayer is concerned, it is an excellent prayer. Understand that when you say, "Thy will be done," it means the same thing. What else could it mean? What else could it mean? And then when you say "Thy will be done," don't go out and pull weeds and wait for His will to be done. Pay attention so that you might know what it is, what His will is for you in that moment. It might be to go and pull weeds. But don't let your statement, "Thy will be done," be like a letter you've posted at the post office that you don't think about until the response comes back. Or a notice that you've put up on a bulletin board. When you say "Thy will be done," you've got to immediately pay attention. When you say "Thy will be done," it is also like saying, "What is Thy will?" Because when you say "Thy will be done," you're not passing the buck. You're not turning it over to something else. What good is it for His will to be done if His will doesn't register with you? And how can His will register with you if you're not paying attention? If you want to get directions from someone or something, you go to that someone or something and say, "What are your directions?" And you're right there listening. Your request is made because you are where the answer is available and because you want the answer. If the master is up on the top of a mountain and you're in a valley, you don't from the valley say, "What's your will?" You go up the mountain to where the master is and you stand in front of him and you say, "What is your will?" And you don't then turn around and walk away. You stand there because you are in audience with him. You're there to hear his response. So always your prayer, "Thy will be done, heal me, Lord," is a prayer that cannot be separated from attentiveness. Whether it is attentiveness to a physical healing that you seem not to be responsible for, in that you didn't drink a certain tea or improve your diet, but spontaneously and instantaneously you experience a healing, it requires attentiveness. Another word for receptivity. Or whether it is the guidance to go and pull some weeds, or drink more water, where you seem to be involved. Whether it's something you actively participate in or passively participate in, participation is inseparable from the process. You see.
Yes.
Why is Paul doing this with his eyes closed? I have no idea. That's the end of the answer.
Is there anything else that's important for me to know at this time?
You have quite enough transformation on your plate for the moment. Okay.
Can I just say then, I love you all, and for me that's easy to do since I don't have to live with you. Thank you, Raj and Paul.
You are welcome. I love you all, and I do have to live with you. Is that called one-upmanship or what?
You win as usual. Well, actually, I surrender to you.
And of course, that is what we were talking about yesterday. Loving you even though I live with you, in spite of the fact that I live with you. Loving you because all the reasons I might come up with for not loving you are not only unjustifiable, if I buy into them, I lose the opportunity to be with all of you, and then I have to suffer isolation. And that is something I refuse to do again. And that is what each one of you needs to learn to refuse to do, and then refuse to do ever again. And that's called waking up. which means you cannot wake up alone. Awakening is not a private project. Awakening isn't a private endeavor. It is impossible to do by yourself. Okay. Hands. Right here.
On that note, I'm referring to this relationship that I have been in that you know of. And I've been saying, thy will be done today regarding this. I have no idea where it's all going as far as external steps. But I want to come from my deepest level of love, whatever that may be. And I surrender it and just say, thy will be done.
And you know what? Like Mother Teresa, you must say, if you want to be in the presence of my care, you cannot continue to be filthy. You cannot continue to be unfed. You cannot continue to be cold. You cannot continue to exist the way you have been existing, because it's your birthright to experience all that love means.
Are you saying this is what the approach would be from this level within me to this being, or the other way around?
Yes, from you to this one.
Okay.
The point is that you do not love one and allow that one to continue to think that he is unworthy of being clean, being fed, being warm, having his human needs met.
I can take care of all the others. It's the last one I'm having a problem with.
Which is?
His human needs regarding intimacy.
Oh, but there are so many forms of intimacy. There are so many ways to be intimate. And you know what? It doesn't matter whether it's well received. It only matters that it's extended and that it is made obvious that it is something in life that is available. And it is something in the experience of being that is essential.
Essential to me too, isn't it?
It is the essence of being.
So when one gives and loves, one gives without expectations, knowing that the joy is in the giving.
Knowing that the fulfillment of the purpose of your being is occurring. That you're on the beam, not off the track. You're welcome.
I got it.
Yes, you do have it. Okay. We're going to take a short break. Hands? Right here?
Raj, 4 years ago, I started a relationship and you cautioned me against it. And I decided to go ahead all the time, all the same, with all honesty. And I lived 4 years, a very good relationship, bringing me from my head into my heart. And then, about a year ago, I asked you again, and you said that we have built up quite a good relationship, or a very good relationship, and that we should give each other, give ourselves to each other wholeheartedly. But a few months later, we decided to separate because of a huge age difference, and it was a good separation, I think, out of love. Now, I'm alone, and I feel for the first time very happy to be alone. For the first time, I can be alone. Now it looks as if I would always do the contrary of what you advise, but in reality, I never felt out of step with you. I felt always that you accompany me with love, and I felt comfortable in the situation. And I would like to ask you, what is the reason for this apparent paradox?
Well, in the first place, I'm very grateful that you weren't blindly obedient. You took a road that was not easy. But you did it carefully, and you did it from your integrity. And so it was blessed. I certainly am not going to say shame on you for not paying attention to me. I will say this, you would have had, of course, a different experience from the one you had. But because you did stay in touch with yourself, and you acted always from that integrity, it brought the best out of the situation. There is nothing I can say, nothing more I can say in response to that question. Would you like to ask further?
No, I think I understood very well what you mean. That I went away with which was not for me, but I did it with integrity, and therefore it brought some result.
That is correct.
Is that correct?
That is correct. That's the end of the answer.
All right. May I ask a brief other question, or is it not polite to the others?
You may indeed.
All right. I have recently been told by two persons who are channeling that I'm not connecting with my feelings, no, with my emotions, that I probably suppress them. And as a matter of fact, I have difficulties to connect with emotions. And for instance, I don't feel anger against people or grudge against people and things like that. So I would like to know
what about love for people?
Yes, I do have that.
Pardon?
I do have that.
Yes.
I do feel that.
Yes, indeed.
Is there anything I'm lacking because I'm not so emotional in this sense, no? Or am I doing well? According to what, in order to fulfill purpose?
I'm going to put it this way. Your heart is opening up as fast as it can. And I want you to honor that. That you do not experience reactions, emotional reactions, is your salvation. Feeling anger is not valuable. It is one of the most significant distractions from your being able to be clear, from your being able to know with a capital K what to do. It is the most significant distraction that you can be faced with. The most significant distraction from your capacity to wake up that you can experience. Continue to let your heart open. Continue to find an object of your affection.